Yeah, we are still expecting some people, but I think we can start and yeah, they will come in the meantime. So good morning, everyone. It's a great pleasure to welcome you all today at this Interregional Dialogue for Family Farming for Europe and Central Asia. My name is Bianca Laskovic. I am from the FAO Regional Office for Europe and Central Asia, and I am dealing with rural development and also with our regional priority program on smallholders, family farms, and youth. Today, this dialogue marks as a very important step in strengthening our collective efforts to promote sustainable, resilient, and inclusive family farming systems between our region and also between Latin America and the Caribbean. And also during the upcoming global forum in 2 days, which is titled as Policy Solutions for Family Farming. And also, over the implementation of the decade, we aim to maintain close cooperation between our regions. Before we begin, just let me inform you on a few housekeeping notes. We have simultaneous translation in English, Russian, Portuguese, and Spanish. And we also have a recording. The dialogue is being transmitted to Zoom. And we have the agenda available for you in printed version in English, in Russian, and in Spanish at the registration desk. And there is also QR codes if you want to access the agenda online, also at the registration desk. Yeah, I don't really want to take more time because we are a bit late, but to officially open the dialogue, we will have some welcome speeches. First of all, a video message from the Assistant Director General of FAO for the Regional Office of Latin America and the Caribbean, Mr. Máximo Torero, who is also the FAO's Chief Economist. I would like to ask my colleagues to put the video on to start.
Distinguished representatives of governments, esteemed colleagues from civil society, and delegates from international organizations. My name is Máximo Torero, and I am the Chief Economist of FAO. Family farming is the cornerstone of rural economies and agri-food systems worldwide. It accounts for more than 90% of the world's farms. That's over 550 million family farms globally. These farms are diverse in structure, size, production, and culture, but they share an essential role producing food, sustaining rural livelihoods, and stewarding natural resources. Family farmers manage approximately 70 to 80% of all agricultural land and are responsible for producing around 80% of the world food by value. But remember, the definition of family farming includes small, medium, and large farms. The contribution goes far beyond production. They safeguard biodiversity, preserve landscapes, uphold cultural heritage, and strengthen social cohesion. In Latin America and the Caribbean, family farming sustains the livelihood of over 60 million people and provides between 40 to 80% of the food consumed in many countries, ensuring food security, nutrition, and territorial inclusion. The Family Farming Platform is part of a broader strategic vision launched by our Director General to reinforce regional collaboration and knowledge exchange. Spearheaded by FAO Regional Office for Latin America and the Caribbean, this platform offers collaborative space for governments, producer organizations, researchers, and partners to share innovations, inform public policy, and co-design investment strategies. It also plays a key role in advancing implementation of the United Nations Decade of Family Farming, 2019 to 2028. By linking the decade's pillars, such as youth inclusion, climate resilience, gender equality, and access to markets, the platform helps align local solutions with global goals, while amplifying the voices of producers and rural communities. Strengthening family farming requires differentiated and inclusive policies, grounded in evidence and rooted in local realities. This can only be achieved through cross-country dialogue, shared learning, and the exchange of successful models and tools. In this spirit, the Interregional Dialogue, providing a timely and valuable opportunity to build bridges across regions, promote innovation, and foster mutual learning. It is a change to highlight the works and replicate it while identifying new solutions for persisting and emerging challenges. We recognize and celebrate the role of diverse regions and driving innovations, from digital tools in Asia to agroecological models in Latin America, from women-led enterprises in Africa to inclusive value chains in the Near East. Family farming is a wellspring of ingenuity. This initiative helps connect those innovations and catalyze practical scalable impact. At FAO, we reaffirm our full commitment to supporting inclusive and resilient rural transformation. Family farming is at the heart of this transformation through investments that enhance productivity, empower youth and women, improve access to services, and ensure fair integration into markets and value chains. We hope this event marks a new milestone in building a strong collaborative and future-oriented pathways for family farming. Let us continue this shared journey, learning from each other, innovating together, and replacing family farmer farms at the center of the sustainable agri-food systems. We need to achieve better production, better nutrition, better environment, and better life, leaving no one behind. Thank you so much for your time, and it has been a pleasure to be with you.
Thank you very much for Maximo for this speech and for highlighting the importance of family farming, and also for the colleagues in the Regional Office for Latin America and Caribbean for the continuous collaboration on this. As next, I would like to invite to the stage Mr. Morten Hartvigsen, the coordinator of the Regional Priority Program for Smallholders, Family Farms and Youth in the Regional Office for Europe and Central Asia, for his welcome speech. Morten, please.
Thank you very much, Bianca. Good morning, colleagues. It's my great pleasure to be here today and to open on behalf of the FAO Regional Office for Europe and Central Asia, the Interregional Dialogue on Family Farming. Family farming is the backbone of global agriculture, and it's also the backbone of agriculture in most countries in Europe and Central Asia, where medium to large commercial family farms are dominating the farm structures in the western part of the region, and small family farms dominating in the countries, or at least in most of the countries, in Eastern Europe and Central Asia. The decade of family farming, 2019-2028, is an excellent opportunity to highlight the important role of family farms and the crucial role of the family farms in the much needed transformation towards more sustainable agri-food systems. Our colleagues in the FAO Regional Office for Latin America and the Caribbean have created the Regional Technical Platform on Family Farming, and we are very grateful for this opportunity to exchange experiences between the two regions related to family farming. We are very much eager to learn about the good practices on family farming in Latin America. And many thanks to Luis and Pedro and the team for organizing and making this event possible and this great opportunity. And I would also like to thank Guilherme, Anna, and the FAO Global Family Farming team here in Rome for all the support and the efforts of getting this dialogue organized this week, back to back with the global event later in the week. So with this, and without taking more time, I would wish all of us a very nice and successful and productive week ahead, and encourage the exchanges and the good discussions. Thank you very much, and welcome once again.
Thank you, Morten. Thank you for your inspiring words, and also for emphasizing the commitment on family farming, both from our region, from Latin America, and also from the headquarters of FAO. As next, I would like now to again ask the colleagues to put a video message shortly on the screen, because now it's our great pleasure to introduce Ambassador Ada Francisca de Assis Hernandez Rivera, who is the permanent representative of the Dominican Republic to the Rome-based UN agencies, and also the chairperson of International Steering Committee of the UN Decade of Family Farming. The ambassador cannot be here with us today, so she will send us this video message now.
Good morning, good afternoon, dear participants, ladies and gentlemen. Greetings from Rome. It is a real pleasure for me to welcome to all of you to this important interregional dialogue. This event is a part of a series organized under the framework of the UN Decade of Family Farming and culminating with a global dialogue in Rome. The UNDFF was launched in 2019 to develop, improve, and implement public policies and investment in support of family farming, with a view to accelerating effort and fostering additional commitment in line with the transformative ambition of the 2030 agenda. However, the past 5 years mark a turning point for the work, with increasing challenges exacerbated by interconnecting, mutually reinforcing driver, conflict, climate variability and extremes, economic slowdowns and downturns, lack of access to and unaffordability for healthy diet, unhealthy food environment, and high and persistent inequality. Addressing these challenges require innovative approach that integrate climate resiliency, sustainable practices, and inclusive rural transformation to ensure the long-term viability of family farmers. We need to do things differently and act holistically to leverage their potential as agent of change. We need innovation with holistic approach and taking many forms: policy, social technology, market, legislative, and institutional, to cover all aspects of agri-food system and help family farmers fight hunger and poverty, revitalize rural areas, and protect the environment. Despite being disproportionately hit, family farmers demonstrated to be part of the solution and possess the potential to develop and implement conducive strategy to address food and nutrition insecurity, climate change, and environmental degradation. In this perspective, facilitating a knowledge exchange and providing access to innovative practice is crucial. My country, the Dominican Republic, is committed with putting in place cross-sectorial strategies to create effective change in food system. I look forward to learning more about effective and scalable solutions. On behalf of the International Steering Committee of the Decade, I therefore wish you a fruitful discussion. See you.
Much for the ambassador, for her words, and also for the dedication on family farming. So now, before we start with the program, let me just give you some introduction on what we are going to hear and do during these 2 days. So, as you know, the dialogue is bringing together family farmers, their organizations, government representatives, development partners, and civil society from across the two regions to exchange our experiences and to advance family farming in the regions. Over the course of the event, we will explore in the first session some presentations on family farming, both from global and regional perspectives. And then we will continue with country cases. And as a final session today, we will start with our so-called thematic tables. We will have 4 of these thematic tables in the 2 days. The first will be on advancing farmers' access to land and other natural resources. And tomorrow, we are going to continue with 3 other thematic tables, namely on collective action, on innovation and digitalization, and on generational renewal and the importance of youth in family farming. And tomorrow we plan to finish the dialogue with a working group discussion to collect your further views on how to advance family farming in the regions. Each session is designated to be interactive and participatory, so after the presentations, we encourage you to actively contribute through questions, sharing your experiences or any kind of thoughts you have. In the morning today, we will also have a coffee break between, I think it is after the next session we have. And then at 12:15 we have the lunch break, but please wait before you break to lunch because we will have a group photo together. And now I think we can start with the sessions, and for this I would like to kindly invite again Morten to come forward, and as he is the moderator of the next session, thank you again for coming and being with us today.
Thank you again, Bianca. And yes, I'm moderating the first session where we will have 3 keynote presentations. And we have 1 hour allocated. We are a few minutes behind schedule, but I think we can catch up. I would like first we will have 3 keynote presentations on family farming. We will have a global perspective. And Guilherme Brady, the leader of the family farming here in FAO headquarters, will give us the first presentation. Then we will hear Professor Natalia Bogdanov from the University in Belgrade, the perspective on family farming in Europe and Central Asia, regional trends and challenges. And finally, we will hear Luis Bedutsky. Luis is Senior Policy Officer at the FAO Regional Office for Latin America and the Caribbean. So telling us and presenting family farming in Latin America. So this is the plan for the next hour. And Guilherme, the floor is yours. And we have the first presentation, right? Yeah.
Thank you, Morten. Hello, good morning. Welcome to FAO. Pleasure to have you all from Rio here with us in headquarters. So I will have a presentation to you on global trends affecting family farming and the main mechanisms to address it. I think we need to start saying that family farming is a major pillar of food systems and is heavily affected by the paradoxes that exist in food systems, no? Related to the environmental issues, to the social, to the economic, health crisis, so interconnected, intertwined crisis. And the food systems are suffering with a serious paradoxes, no? So we have enough food to feed the world population at the moment, but we have a growing number of people With hunger, we have a growing number of people with obesity. So the number of malnutrition, it's absurd, and big part of the world population has some kind of malnutrition. Agriculture is one of it's responsible for 1/3 of greenhouse emissions. We have biodiversity loss, we have soil depletion. So there is many issues related to environmental issues. Most of the food production, and we're gonna see in the next slides, are produced by family farmers, smallholders, medium farmers mainly. But at the same time, 80% of the poverty in the world comes from rural areas. So clearly the results, the outcomes of the food systems are not bringing the results that we want. And this is pretty much related to a high level of concentration in different areas, concentration of the let's say, homogeneity of crops, concentration in the economic value chains, and all of it, concentration of land, all of it affects family farming heavily. So in order to, the issues of the challenges we have at the moment is how we can ensure sufficient, affordable, nutritious food for a growing population. And the challenge is more now on the availability and the access to healthy diets. So in order to ensure this, we need diversity, and family farmers can give a great contribution to it. So let's see a bit the numbers that we have on family farming. So they are 558 million units. And the concept of family farming, we don't have an international definition of family farming. We have a concept that is a broader, it's broader than a definition, that it's a means of organizing agriculture, forestry, fisheries, pastoral, aquaculture production, managed and operated by a family and relying predominantly on the family capital and labor. So these two elements are very important and are usually unfolded at national level, then with national definitions on family farming. And we're gonna hear more about it on Wednesday. Maria Inácia will present a study that ROC developed in Latin America that will address this in more in depth. So family farmers includes indigenous people, peasants, fisher folks, pastoralists, mountain farmers, a diversity of food producers. And they occupy around 70 to 80% of farmlands, and as the chief economist presented, are responsible for the production of around 70 to 80% of the world's food in value chain, in value terms. We've been investing a lot in trying to get more and more evidence about the contributions of family farmers in these different dimensions. And we can find very strong evidence that small and medium scale diversified production feeds healthy diets. They are the most important producers of nutrients worldwide. I will not enter in details, but you can see also how, if you split into categories, the level of production, contribution to the world food production. So every different, even the smallholders are very important to food production. No? Even the farmers with less than 2 hectares, that tends to be seen as unproductive. No? They are very important for food production. They are responsible for around 30 to 34% in only 12% of the area of the land. And this is crucial for their own food security. Okay. And another contributions that we see is that a major contribution is that they allocate almost 60% of their crop production to food, and this is higher than any other farm size. And they also enhance nutrition and sustainability, because we see that small farms, they have a greater crop diversity when you compare to larger areas. No, there is a strong inverse relationship between farm size and the number of crop species. And then, so this is, let's say, their contribution. We saw that the paradoxes, how they can contribute. And now let's have a look on the possible mechanisms to address it, and why this policy approach on family farming can help on it, can become a mechanism to address these challenges. No? Because family farmers in general are very heterogeneous. No? They are in different stages of development. They have different development pathways. So we need to treat them differently. And they are subject to several external factors, and depending on the level of development they need the policies to be adapted to these realities, to these different contexts. No? So you can be in a subsistence level, you can be starting to get some kind of structured contact with markets. You can be in consolidation, you can be a well-consolidated farmer. And if you have one single approach of policies, you will not manage to help all the different farmers the way they would need to. You will not have the results. If you have one credit policy, no, one approach on credit, one single approach, probably this will be considered for the more consolidated farmers, but the farmers in subsistence will not be able to achieve. So you need another approach in order to be effective on how you support farmers that are in different levels. And that's what the public policy approach on family farming brings, your possibility to support the different stages of development, support the farmers that are in the lower bottom, let's say, to grow, to advance, and keep the farmers that already manage to advance, not to retrocede in moments of crisis, volatility, etc. So that's what the public policy approach of family farming can bring. They encompass different categories of small and medium scale farmers. If you look into the national definitions, you see the most often the governments try to limit the definitions to small and medium farmers, support farmers with a combination of public policies related to its consolidation stages. So for instance, going back to the previous example, if we have to support a subsistence activities, subsistence farmers, maybe the traditional agricultural policies will not be enough. It will have to be combined with social protection policies as well. So you need to have a basket of policies to support them. And this approach, considering that you need to combine different policies, strengthen coordination of different policy areas, and helps to optimize resources and maximize results towards sustainable food systems. A great example is the policies for school feeding, for instance. When you combine the support from the Ministry of Agriculture to organize production, the resources from the Ministry of Education or Health to purchase the food and to provide nutritious foods to kids. So with a combination of policy areas, you are optimizing the resources that exist and maximizing the results. No, you're going to have the results on health, on nutrition, on the capacity of kids to learn, and also supporting farmers at once. So in order for this policy approach to work, you have three main aspects that needs to be operationalized. Usually you need a legal grounding, legal definitions, because in most of our legal systems, the public agent can do what the law previews. No? Otherwise, you have to have a unique treatment to all. So usually you need a legal definition saying that the government can bring a differentiated approach to family farmers. and with clear indications, criteria. These criteria are identified in family farming registries that collects information about these criteria. And this is crucial in order to say who can access policies that will have a differential treatment, a lower interest rate, for instance, and specific support on rural extension. So these kind of things. During the Decade on Family Farming, the United Nations Decade on Family Farming, we've been helping to structure technical knowledge, global knowledge on these aspects. So you will find in our pages different legal analysis on how countries are defining family farming, different legal areas that can be supported. So this is well covered. We have also a publication recently launched last year about family farming registries, collecting mainly the experience from Mercosur countries, but also bringing other experiences. So it's a practical guide for policymakers with the main steps that are needed. And we have a learning framework on public policy cycles for family farming. Which are the mechanisms in place for the decade and the results we achieved so far? So the main result, the main numbers, the main indicators we consider are the number of countries that adopted the framework on family farming. No? And until now, we have 16 countries that approved national action plans for family farming, and other 3 sub-regional action plans, 2 of them in intergovernmental spaces. So what is approved in the sub-region is valid for all the countries that compose them. So this gives us a possibility to have 46 countries with a framework on family farming. Oh, and other very positive aspects related to coordination mechanisms at national level, a big number of actors working and dialoguing on the topic in these different countries. So that's it. I would like to give you just this overview. Important also to say that we have other mechanisms, platforms to support this work. One is the Regional Technical Platform on Family Farming that is focusing on exchanges, on technical coordination. The Family Farming Knowledge Platform that focuses on organizing knowledge on family farming, working with more than 300 actors, gathering their knowledge on family farming, and the Communication for Development initiatives we have in 3 regions that the main focus is to bring information to farmers using rural communication services. So thanks a lot.
Now it works again. Thank you very much, Guillaume. And now I would like to invite the second presenter of this session, Natalia Bogdanov. And Natalia will tell us about family farming in Europe and Central Asia, regional trends and challenges. And as I mentioned, Natalia is the full professor of the University in Belgrade, of the Faculty of Agriculture. And after the 3 presentations, I will invite the 3 presenters to take the seat here in front of us, and we will open for questions and discussion with all of us. So the floor is yours, Natalia.
Thank you, Morten. Hello to everyone from my side as well. And let me start, as we are already in a small delay. So I'm going to present family farming in Europe and Central Asia. So for our dear colleagues from Latin America, just to introduce you briefly with our region. So the ECA region starts in Portugal. It is his western border and ends into Russia, Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, and Uzbekistan on its eastern borders. However, the region covers the territory of 53 countries with over 750 million hectares of agricultural land, and as such, it is one of the key global breadbasket, supplying nearly 25% of the world wheat export that mainly come from Russia, Ukraine, and Kazakhstan. However, there are some other relevant food producers in our region, with France, Romania, Hungary, and Poland as a major EU breadbasket with a strong cereal and oilseed production, also the main exporter within the EU countries. Then few regional, where the Serbia plays the same role for Western Balkan countries, and Turkey and Uzbekistan as an important regional supplier of wheat, fruits, vegetables, and the cottons. When it comes to the farm structure in our region, as it was repeated since this morning few times, there is in our region as well considerable diversity of family farms across the region. Farms are highly diverse, shaped by ecological conditions, also by geographical features in the region, as well as with the historical legacies and policy environments. In Eastern Europe and Central Asia, current structure were largely determined by the land reforms of 1990s onwards, but in region's western part, there is the predominance and the continuous legacy of the private family farms. Family farms dominate, but the legal structure and the ownership models differ widely. A significant proportion of those farms are small farms within the EU. There are over 60% of the farms of the size less than 5 hectares, but in REU program countries, all countries except Moldova are predominantly formed by small family farms comprising 95 to 99% of the total number of farms. Very few countries, Serbia, Moldova, and Kazakhstan, are characterized by dual farm structure, where parallel to small farm, the large farm exists as well. This table, I think, well represents and gives the clear picture about the size, about the type, and about the ownership of the legal structure of the farms in our region. As you can easily see, family farms dominate across the whole ecoregion, yet with some differences between the sub-regions, particularly when comparing the western and its eastern part. However, what we can see when look the column on the farm average farm size, we can see that average farm size ranks from less than 1 hectare, which is typical for Deccan farm in Central Asia, to the farms of the size hundreds of thousands, typical for Russia and Ukraine. In generally, small family farms dominate, usually privately owned, but still there are the examples of the countries in Central Asia where state land is to companies also present, as well as where some quasi-private farms, let's call them that way, where the state land often leads to family farms. Very few things we can say about the trends in family farming in our region. The trends are well documented for European Union, for some Eastern European countries, but not that well in a comparable way for Central Asian countries. In general, over the recent decades, the number of farms has been declining, with a notable shift towards the larger, more industrialized operations. Farm decline often at the expense of the small-scale farming, and the data for the EU clearly represent that over the period from 2005 to nowadays, 37% of the farms are lost, and 87 of those farms are the farms of less than 5 hectares. The opposite trend we can find in some Central Asian countries. Here I mentioned the Kazakhstan, where there is a general trend of increasing registered farm enterprises, but still with some fluctuations, and this data can be misleading just because the number of the farms is increasing in the years when there are some incentives for small or usually young farmers. Some challenges that our countries in the region are facing are very much similar to those that are globally presented. And the first one, and probably one of the most important, is land abandonment, which is driven by the various demographic, socioeconomic, and institutional factors that is present all across the region, including in EU countries where it is visible in Mediterranean countries and Eastern European countries of EU, then in Western Balkans as a consequence of youth out-migration and rural depopulation, but as well the insufficiency of small farms and land fragmentation also matters. Then Russia and Ukraine, collapse of collective farms and rural depopulation and regional conflicts impacted the land abandonment, and in Central Asia, the land abandonment is visible in the regions where the irrigation infrastructure fails. The same is about the land fragmentation, which results from the pathways of farm development, inheritance rights, and as well as a breakup of collective farms and weak land policies and markets. It is present in Eastern Europe, among the Balkans, North Macedonia, then among the Caucasus, Armenia, and Turkey as well, stand out as the countries where the land abandonment is mostly present. So far, 25 out of 25 countries of Central and Eastern European countries, 21 have introduced land consolidations programs starting from 1990s. Mixed picture is in Russia and Ukraine, where large corporate farms and step farms reduced the data about the fragmentation, and situation seems not that bad like in the countries I mentioned. Many times mentioned since this morning, generational renewal is at risk in our region, particularly in Western countries, where a large share of farmers of over 60 years old are the farm managers. Youth engagement in agricultural sector declining, with a very few young farmers interested in continuing agricultural activity due to the limited land access, small farm size, and low income prospects. And similar problems exist not just in countries where rural depopulation is significantly present, but it is also visible in countries with high birth rates, including among the Balkan countries, just because of the lack of the interest of young people to continue agricultural activity. So the consequence of such a situation is that it contributes to a growing lack of available agricultural labor. So that is the huge problem for the countries, particularly those with the labor-intensive agricultural activities dominating family farms. Among the regional challenges, important one are the environmental issues in Central Asian countries, where the population growth may increase pressure on land and other natural resources. More than 80% of region's territory is occupied with desert and steppes. The countries of this region are rich in land resources measured per capita, measured per employed in agriculture and other indicators. But yet, when we are looking in the structure of the land, there is very few, let's say, acres of arable land. It's mostly dominated by the pastures. However, the figures are saying that up to 15% of the region's pastures need to be supplied with the water, while 20 million people live in areas with a high road, which covers more than 40 million hectares in that part of the region. Here you see the figures on average arable land per person, how it's changed in the Central Asian countries. Kazakhstan, as the country richest in arable land per capita, is not mentioned in this figure, but however, the figures clearly show that there is the decrease of available land resources in all Central Asian countries per capita. Climate change and rising water scarcity are the key issue for the countries in the region, and most countries in Central Asia, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan and Uzbekistan are among the top countries most vulnerable to the climate change, not just in ECA region, but globally are recognized as such. So Central Asia struggles with the water scarcity, and also land degradation and desertification. Here you can see the water stress in the countries of our region from few years ago, and it is very prominent that more than half of them face the issue with the lack of the water. So the problems that are relevant for the countries in the region are aging infrastructure, weak maintenance and governance, complex transboundary water issues, and high agricultural withdrawals with low efficiency in stressed countries, which generally means that water is not properly used, and that the effects of such water use is not what is expected. Finally, to see how the agricultural policies in our countries respond to the issues and the challenges listed above. So in EU, we see the growing focus on CAP, on a climate smart agriculture, environmental sustainability, value chain, and some, let's say, soft objectives that are targeted by new reforms. However, in Western Balkan and Moldova, policies are very much oriented towards the alignment with the EU, with the food safety, farm competitiveness, income diversification, and rural infrastructure in the heart of the policy objectives in Balkan countries. When it comes to the Caucasus, focus is on modernizing irrigation and building value chains, while Russia, Ukraine, and Kazakhstan pursue state-led models centered on the food sufficiency, export growth, and modernization. More recent policies target some smallholder and young farmers issues, as well as rural infrastructure. In Central Asia, the countries emphasize diversification and specialization to expand the trade onto new markets and to be present in the eastern markets, reduce import dependencies, sustainability, irrigation rehabilitation, and in some of the countries in Central Asia, digitalization, are in the focus with also importance of technology adaptation and advisory services development in some of the countries in the region. Yet the progress they are making differs a lot and depends a lot on the country's capacities to pursue such agendas. Just to say a few words about the policy challenges that are common across the ECA countries. As you can conclude from the previous slide, generation renewal, climate adaptation, irrigation, integration of smallholder farmers, and market volatility, actually the global commodity price fluctuation are at the heart of the objectives that are common for all countries, starting from western to eastern borders. Yet each region has its own specific challenges. In the European Union, the challenge is the balancing CAP income support with environmental and climate objectives. And while farmers express the frustration on environmental demands, as you know, or some of you remember 2 years ago, the environmentalists advocate that progress made by CAP is not enough and are not happy at all with how the agricultural policy is progressing in terms of achieving its environmental objectives. So that clash is sometimes very, very, very strong. Anyhow, compliance with the climate and environmental standard will be very, very challenging for European farmers in the years to come. But when it comes to Eastern Europe and the Western Balkans, there are the challenges to complete land reforms in the part of the region, then improve infrastructure, improve the access to finance, technology and advisory services, addressing infrastructure gaps in the storage, processing facilities, transportation as well, and harmonization with the EU countries. In Russia and Ukraine, out of labor shortages and lack of qualified persons, still there are some structural challenges to be resolved in the years to come, like undeveloped infrastructure, rural depopulation, and many, many others. So when it comes to Central Asia, water insecurity, land degradation and irrigation, then strengthening the rural services and modernization are in the core of the challenges that the region faces. So while the EU has moved towards sustainability, climate smart farming, other parts of the region still focus on the basic modernization, market integration, and infrastructure rehabilitation issues. What you can show, the state-led model coexist with a more market-oriented approach, but across the region, common issue is that countries need to make farming both economically and socially sustainable for a long time, and to be very, very much focused on generational renewal and climate and environmental issues that affect the region as a most common challenges and issues faced by all the countries in ECA region. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Natalia, for this very comprehensive overview of family farming in Europe and Central Asia. And now let me hand over to Luis, who will present family farming in Latin America and the Caribbean.
Can manage it here. Yeah, that's the pointer. Okay. Forward, backward. Thank you. So, good morning to everyone. Thanks, Martin, to the moderation of this session, and also to help us with your team in here to organize this dialogue. I'm very proud to be here with you guys. It's the third Interregional Dialogue we are doing under this initiative with the Technical Regional Platform on Family Farming. I will ask you to use this device of interpretation, and I will switch to Spanish. The slides is on English, but maybe for me it's easier to use the Spanish for the presentation. Also, let me thank you, Guilherme, Ana, Sara, all the colleagues here in headquarters to join with us to organize this. It's since we have here last year on the Global Forum on Family Farming, we were doing a lot together, working as one FAO, as we used to speak, and here it's very pleasure for me to present very short some ideas around Latin America and the Caribbean family farming agenda. Em Latinoamérica e no Caribe, essa renda de agricultura familiar ganha muita força a partir do final dos 80, em conjunto muito intenso de inovações para nossa região. E acá, alguns números depois, Marinácia, Pedro vão profundizar isso com os dados de Latinoamérica. A participação da agricultura familiar, tanto em número de fincas como na produção de alimentos, é muito significativa. Sin embargo, aunque são muitos que dão uma contribuição importante, obviamente, assim como em outras regiões do mundo, também sofrem com conjunto de desafios que vamos conversar pouquinho. A situação em Latinoamérica, 1 em cada 4 hectares de agricultura são da agricultura familiar, não? E são responsáveis, ou são como mais de 80% das fincas da região. Tem rol, e acá começa algo que as duas apresentações, tanto de Guilherme como de Natália, já avançam pouco, e quizás nesse marco de lo que estamos discutindo, se contribuem com a produção de alimentos, mas não de qualquer alimento. Ou seja, é na agricultura familiar onde há potencial enorme de, por lado, produzir alimentos frescos, sanos, de qualidade, que permitam fazer uma dieta saudável, mas asequible para as pessoas. Nossa região, que muitos também veem, assim como vimos na apresentação anterior, não? Parte do trigo que se produz no mundo acá, nessa região de Europa e Ásia Central, em Latinoamérica, onde se produz maíz, soja, é a região onde é mais caro no mundo comer, ter acesso a uma dieta saudável. Então, essa contradição que Guilherme apresentava ao início marca fundamentalmente a dinâmica em que se movem as políticas de desenvolvimento rural e de fortalecimento da agricultura familiar em Latinoamérica e o Caribe. Usando a ideia do decênio de agricultura familiar, em que se também propõe construir uma nova imagem, uma nova forma, um novo relato sobre a agricultura familiar, aqui há uma pista, quizás, de poner mais atenção a essa capacidade de produção de frutas, hortaliças, de alimentos frescos em sistemas de produção e consumo mais cercanos. É uma agricultura familiar também que ha demonstrado uma capacidade muito grande de adaptação e de resiliência a choques climáticos, choques de preços, ou seja, com pouca disponibilidade, com pouco apoio de políticas, logra manter-se a flote e logra manter sua contribuição tanto à produção de alimentos como, e isso me parece cada vez mais importante, Natália já apresentou, este aporte à dimensão ambiental, como provedores também de serviços ambientais, ecossistêmicos, que muitas vezes não são nem valorados, nem valorizados. Então, acá há outra temática para poner atenção, não? 3, mais allá do clima, também são os garantes, e em Latinoamérica é muito evidente isso. Está em la agricultura familiar a diversidade biológica, genética. É decir, nós no mundo conhecemos mais ou menos 4.000 espécies vegetais que se podem utilizar na alimentação. 700 são mais ou menos conhecidas. Sin embargo, 2/3 de lo que nós outros comemos vem de trigo, maíz e soja. É decir, acá há também uma perda, uma erosão genética que a agricultura familiar pode ajudar a revertir, a combater. É decir, há valor na biodiversidade que muitas vezes nós não estamos mirando e nem valorizando. Então, essa é uma discussão que está ganhando força na região de Latinoamérica e creio que vai permitir discussões com as outras regiões de forma bastante intensa. O que eles comentavam, aunque são muitos, todavia sofrem com limitado acesso a ativos, a serviços, ao próprio reconhecimento de sua capacidade de contribuir com as dinâmicas socioeconômicas locais. Por isso que insistimos tanto na necessidade de ter ferramentas concretas, políticas públicas, instrumentos de política que permitam fazer frente às adversidades que sofrem, que enfrentam os agricultores familiares. Esse é pouco o espírito desses diálogos também, de ir identificando quais são as soluções de política, os instrumentos de política que estão em marcha em las distintas regiões, que é o que têm em comum, como se podem fortalecer, como se podem, em um processo de intercâmbio entre países, entre regiões, criar novas soluções mais apropriadas para o setor. Aqui quero subrayar essas 3 áreas em que vemos a agricultura familiar se posicionando. Tivemos acá, Belém acompanhou de forma bastante intensa os preparatórios para a COP30, que acontece em Brasília. Ou seja, toda essa renda vinculada a câmbio climático e resiliência, quizás acá é que seguir fortalecendo e pondo atenção a políticas como fomento à agroecologia, a todo o que é ação antecipatória na agricultura familiar. Há campo novo emergindo, não tão novo, mas emergindo com força ao redor da bioeconomia, do aproveitamento de los recursos naturais em uma nova renda econômica que tem a valorização da natureza, passaporte para novo modelo econômico, e isso passa por políticas de acesso à terra e manejo de recursos naturais. Este ênfase em que a própria agricultura familiar é provedor de serviços ambientais vai ganhando cada vez mais força nas discussões em Latinoamérica e em vários de nossos países. 2, é uma região que sofre muito com as desigualdades. É decir, quizás é a região em que mais se expressa essa desigualdade no mundo. Se tomo os dados duros, vou a ter uma região muito desigual. E isso passa, e Natália já apresentava pouquinho também, por enfrentar o tema de acesso à infraestrutura, que tipos de inversão habilitantes há que pôr nos territórios rurais para desatar, para destravar o potencial econômico que têm. Conectividade, é cada vez mais claro como a conectividade dos agricultores familiares é uma via para que tenham mais acesso à informação, mais acesso a mercados, que permita aos agricultores familiares terem mais acesso a serviços, não? E quizás acá toda a renda e especialmente neste ano, que é o ano internacional das cooperativas, o fomento ao trabalho associativo como provedores de serviços é algo importante. 3, toda a dimensão de inclusão econômica, não? Ampliar o acesso aos mercados, aumentar a produtividade dos fatores, não? E permitir que vários desses agricultores accedam a novas oportunidades de mercados locais ou internacionais, é uma renda que em Latinoamérica está muito intensa, muito marcada. Essas 3 áreas de trabalho acá não surgem de la FAO, de nosso equipo, sino mais bem é a síntese de um processo de diálogo que se está dando com várias das instâncias de discussão que há na região e les vou comentar em ratito. Um instrumento muito potente para que as políticas públicas puedan direcionar-se à agricultura familiar são os registros de agricultura familiar. E acá há muita experiência na região, especialmente na REAF, o Lautaro nos vai comentar ratito mais depois, em que essa ferramenta institucional que ajuda a caracterizar o setor e, además, poner à disposição dos governos um instrumento que permite orientar a política hacia elementos concretos, hacia uma melhor melhor processo de identificação dos sujeitos da política é bastante importante, não? E acá tanto em sua dimensão mais institucional como em sua dimensão mais tecnológica, não? Acá há muita experiência na região que se está pondo à disposição das outras partes do mundo, especialmente nesse campo dos registros de agricultura familiar. Fazer circular essas ideias, como lo vamos fazer esses 2 dias e depois no Fórum Global, é algo que nós outros em Latinoamérica aprendimos ao longo dos últimos 20 anos, por lo menos. Não se hace política solitos, não se hace política sem a interlocução com as organizações da agricultura familiar e se usam espaços como estes, não? O espaço da comunidade latino-americana, comunidade de estados latino-americanos e caribenhos, espaços como o Mercosul, que é bloco econômico do Cono Sur da América Latina que tem uma reunião especializada sobre agricultura familiar. É um órgão, não é uma ONG, não é um invento, sino mais bem é um órgão de um bloco econômico, não? Que põe atenção específica à agricultura familiar. Ou em Centroamérica, com o sistema de integração centro-americano, em que há uma comissão de agricultura e que foca lá trabalho em agricultura familiar, não? Então, esses mecanismos de coordenação que juntam governos e dialogam com a sociedade civil vão muito de la mano com o espírito de lo que é a própria década de agricultura familiar. Nosso rol como organização, em alguma medida, e isso o Guilherme já apresentava, é facilitar esses espaços, apoiá-los tecnicamente e fomentar esses intercâmbios para que se acortem caminhos, para que se pueda aprender uns dos outros e conectar soluções que permitam ir avançando de forma mais rápida hacia os objetivos, e nesse caso, do decênio da agricultura familiar e do próprio marco da Agenda 2030. Como se faz isso? Basicamente em espaços como este, presenciais, mas também no mundo virtual, ou seja, a plataforma regional de agricultura familiar como parte, por um lado, de um ecossistema de plataformas, que essas que Guilherme já planteava, e, ao mesmo tempo, é uma iniciativa da FAO de ter 5 plataformas técnicas especializadas em temas vinculados à renda, ao mandato da FAO. Não? Então, essas de cá nos dá muito gosto, porque já era uma renda. Quando o diretor-geral nos pede, a oficina regional de fome para a Latinoamérica, de manejar isso, foi muito fácil o trabalho, porque já havia, a diferença das outras 4 plataformas regionais, trabalho prévio, muito consistente, liderado acá por a equipe de Guilherme, que se conecta, se complementa, não? Então, acá há uma potência nesse encontro, de forma a combinar comunicação para desenvolvimento, conhecimentos e, mais recentemente, esses intercâmbios que estão sendo bastante intensos, tanto presencialmente, agora durante 2025, pero antes também no mundo virtual. A ideia é juntar e pôr à disposição de vocês esses instrumentos de encontro e diálogo que permitam avançar na agenda de agricultura familiar. Aqui alguns desses exemplos, não? Ciclo virtual de intercâmbios na agricultura familiar, nos diálogos de conhecimento e práticas sobre a agricultura familiar, não? Conjunto de diálogos sobre os registros de agricultura familiar. Há uma bateria também de cursos à disposição online, em espanhol, em inglês, em português, que se vai conectando e pondo à disposição essas inovações que vão sendo cosechadas em los países. Ao dia de hoje, quando isso vai terminando, há por lo menos 5 cursos de formação de self-study, de autoaprendizagem, sobre esses temas, não? Novas tecnologias e práticas para a agricultura familiar de conceitos à prática, circuitos curtos de produção e consumo, inovação e sustentabilidade na agricultura familiar e todo campo ao redor de finanças rurais para a agricultura familiar. Ao dia de hoje, acá lo coordena Pedro Boareto, já mais de 17.000 participantes estão nisso, mais de 50 práticas sistematizadas e à disposição da comunidade que gira ao redor da agenda de agricultura familiar. Assim que nos dá muito gosto ter esse espaço e graças uma vez mais Morten e equipe por facilitar essa atividade. Muitas graças. Thank you.
Thank you, Luis. And now I would like to invite the 3 presenters to take a seat here at the panel. And we will open the floor for questions and comments, discussion, whatever. So start to think about what questions you would like to ask. We have a question down here.
Thank you very much to all the speakers for excellent presentation. My name is Marijana Petir. I am president of the Committee for Agriculture from Croatia. And I would like to ask speakers to comment on what they consider to be biggest challenge for small farms in the region they represent now, and whether they believe that the Russian aggression against Ukraine, which has caused disruptions in food supply chains, will affect the survival of small farms, especially in Europe. Thank you.
Who wants to start to answer? Luis or Natalia?
What is the biggest challenge? It is difficult to rank among the many challenges faced by smallholders and family farms in our region, European part of ECA region. However, from my own perspective, I think the climate change, as we experienced from the previous this year and from the years to come, because the figures show and forecasts show that in our region we can expect 10 to 50% lower water resources in the next 30 years. So as the region highly affected with the climate change, and what is expected that the global temperature rise will be even higher in our region. That is for sure the biggest challenge for the agricultural sector as a whole, particularly for smallholders and family farms, which usually don't have the access to investments into the irrigation infrastructure and don't have the facilities to even the knowledge, the access to knowledge is critical for them. When it comes to the effect of the Russian-Ukraine war on value chains in our region, now I'm speaking from the perspective of the Balkan region, we still don't see the effects, that strong effects in our region itself, because the region is very compact, how to say, and the supply and the system is somehow integrated from the years and years and years before, and very well integrated, as I said. But generally speaking, at the European level, probably the changes will be prominent. For example, the countries in our surrounding already experienced the broke of the value chains and a lot of issues that appear from that development and from in the market generally.
From a global perspective, and as we are in contact with the different regions, the challenges are very similar. No access to resources, access to land, this issue of fragmentation, it's very present, concentrations, but then not entering in the list of challenges because they are very broad: economic, social, environmental. I think there is a big challenge to face and to review the policies in order to be able to support more specifically family farmers. No, because if we think, let's say, the agricultural policies were considered and were born to support productivity in a period that the world had to increase productivity. We were facing famine everywhere. No, World War, even FAO was created during this period. And we were successful with this approach. But we are still there. We are still doing very similarly. The policies we see are very similar to the policies that we had in the 40s, in the 50s, in the 60s. No? And we are living another context. So I think the big challenge is how to reconsider the policies we have for the new period we are living. And the traditional agricultural policies are relevant, they are still relevant, but need to bring innovations. When you have one single approach, these policies will be most probably designed considering the more structured farmers. And if this is the case, the family farmers will not be able to access. If you are a subsistence farmer and you go to the bank trying to get a credit, you will not get it. So if you want the credit to reach a poor farmer, you need to think about a credit scheme that could be adapted to the poor farmer. So I think for me, the big challenge is how we bring innovations on how we are developing policies in this new context to different types of farmers. On the issue of conflicts, conflicts are terrible to everyone. It disrupts the social tissue, the economic tissue. So it affects heavily family farmers that needs to leave their lands, and then when they are back, if they are back, the situation that they face that were not easy becomes even more hard. So we see a direct relation of poverty, food insecurity in areas of conflict.
Just to add one thing in the answers that my colleagues said before, I think one of the main challenges we are facing still is the recognition of the role of family farming into the development schemes. Without this recognition, we could not to have the public policies, investments, etc. So I think this is exactly because this we are paying a lot of attention on these family farming registries to make them visible, And second, one of the many innovations I think in Latin America we advanced a lot was in these schemes in putting together governments with the civil society organization, to dialogue around the concrete instruments oriented to family farming. So I think this is very important to highlight, because without this recognition in a new perspective, it's not about only to food producers, but also as an actor that plays a central role in the transition of new and more sustainable, inclusive food systems in all the regions. Yeah,
that's interesting point. Also, we have also in countries, also in Europe and Central Asia, countries where you have 90% of the land is used by family farms, and still you do not have a policy that really considers really their needs. That is still amazing a bit, but we will discuss this in the next days. Do we have one more comment or question? Yes, please.
Hi, everyone. I am Arnita from Kosovo. First of all, thank you so much for your presentation and with lots of information. And I wanted to ask specifically Luis, you brought as a topic the family farming registering. And I will make two questions in one because of the curiosity. What do you think? The fact that you brought as a topic means that there is actually farmers resisting to be registered, right? And what do you think is making them to not register? And what actually can be maybe few solutions that you as FAO can help in this situation to make them, to convince them for otherwise? Thank you.
Okay. We'll start.
Maybe the registry, we can see this in two different perspectives. One is a more, how can I say, formal registry, because the government wants to know who is who in the room. And I can do this with, okay, you is from Kosovo and blah, blah, blah. But what you gain, what you receive with this register? Nothing. You are giving me, just your information. And more information now, as we are seeing every day in the social media, etc., is a value. And another perspective is this: okay, I have some policy instruments to bring to this type of farmers. If you are a farmer that fits to these characteristics, then you can access this package of policy instruments. So the incentive for the registry is, from my perspective, is in what the government can offer to the farmers to become a more voluntary. This is voluntary registries. You know, it's not a census. It's not a mandatory registry. It's in a way to stimulate producers to come to the window of the one government. Is okay. I'm here, and I am able to access. I can access this because these policies were designed to this type of agriculture. I think in many countries, the registries now are working like this first door to the public policies, you know. And at the same time, with this, the governments can, to know better, as Guilherme said before, to better what is the real situation of the family farms in each territory, to adjust their instruments, the instruments of public policy, no?
Just to complement, so it is a wonderful planning tool for the governments because they can see what is the socioeconomic situation, the environmental aspects, all the information that they include that they can collect. So it's a wonderful planning tool to see the real situation and be able to develop adapted policies. No, so look, this is the problem. No, this is what we need to bring. But for the farmers, it only makes sense if there is the possibility to receive policies. No, they know that with this registry, I'll be able to access because I'm proving that I'm a family farmer, and then I will have a better situation to access a certain policy. When it's only the registry, we've seen cases, as Luis mentioned, that then usually sometimes the farmer, it's not very comfortable because they think that this will be used for, maybe any other use. So it needs to be accompanied. It is an instrument to support the formulation and implementation of public policies. It's where you see who is able to access the policy. So that's why we see as an amazing tool to differentiate policies and to have also evidence to support decisions of policymakers.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for a wonderful presentation, and it's nice to hear. I'm Mari Godua from Georgia. I'm a member of the Farmers Organization, Farmers Association, and my question is: you in the different presentation you mentioned that the youth engagement is decreasing each year, and the youth farmers have a lot of challenges compared to generally. We know that we have the lack of land access, lack of finance, and so on. In your point of view, in your perspective, what the actions might be done in your countries or like generally globally to increase the youth engagement in the agriculture sector? Thank you.
Okay, let me start first. As a university professor, I should say that I have the and perspective how the youth perceive the jobs in agriculture, because I am always asking my students what was their motive to enroll the agricultural university or whatever, and whether they are interested to continue their career in agricultural production and in the farming. And from my own perspective and the results of the recent study conducted by the REU office on young farmer and rural youth in the Western Balkan countries. The respondents were saying that if the better quality jobs are available in agricultural sector, they might be interested to continue in farming on their own or their parents' farm, meaning that they are very much interested in digital farming, in the access to digital technology, to have the opportunity to work on on-farm processing activities like rural tourism, like other kind of the services, including the services with their own mechanization. Then the wine sector became extremely popular among the, the newcomers and new entrants into the sector, particularly those who are well educated. And as I said, some niche products like organic products, like diversified on-farm activities, that is something that they really like, and the access to new technologies mean not just the technical facilities and mechanization, these kind of things, but also the new knowledge, new products, new services. That is something that drives them to rural areas and to pursue activity in agriculture.
Thank you very much. I think we are a little bit behind time now, so let's break for coffee and let's be back here in the room at 11:30. Thank you very much, and let's give a hand to the panel.
Slowly take our seats and start with our next session, which it would be more technically focused discussions or thematic discussions. At this session, we will try to see what are the public policy instruments that support family farming. We will have different experiences, we will learn about the mechanism for knowledge exchange on how the national and regional collaborations can facilitate family farmers, both in the country level and also regionally. So here at this session, we will have 3 presentations. And first presentation would be by Mr. Emil Beki-Dikmanov. He is assistant to the Minister of Water Resources, Agriculture and Processing from Kyrgyzstan. He has over 40 years of experience in the public policy and rural development. And I welcome you to the stage. Thank you. The language of the presentation would be in Russian, so please take your earphones if you need.
Уважаемые дамы и господа, позвольте представить вам презентацию на тему расширения прав и возможностей семейных фермерских хозяйств в Кыргызской Республике. Меня зовут Эмиль Бек-Дикманов. Я являюсь помощником министра водных ресурсов, сельского хозяйства и перерабатывающей промышленности Кыргызской Республики. Кыргызстан – это маленькая страна в Центральной Азии. Ее территория составляет всего 199 тысяч квадратных километров. Население составляет всего 7,1 миллиона человек. Из них сельское население составляет всего 65%. То есть почти больше половины населения занимается сельскохозяйственным производством. Общее количество хозяйств субъектов в стране составляет более 488 тысяч единиц. Из них крестьянское фермерское хозяйство составляет более 361 тысяч единиц, то есть это составляет всего 74% от всего наличия хозяйств субъектов в стране. Кроме того, кроме крестьянских фермерских хозяйств, у нас в Кыргызстане свою деятельность проводят и другие крупные хозяйства, такие как коллективно-крестьянское хозяйство, количество составляет которых 182 единиц, всего 0,04%. Акционерное общество всего 80 единиц, доля которых составляет всего 0,02%. Сельскохозяйственные кооперативы, их 570, доля составляет всего 0,12%. Кроме того, у нас в стране действует, то есть свою хозяйственную деятельность проводят и государственные хозяйства, количество которых составляет 37 единиц. Доля, смотрите в таблице, то есть в презентации, всего 0,007%. Кроме того, у нас в стране свою деятельность проводят и индивидуальные предприниматели, количество которых составляет более 125 единиц. То есть более 25% у нас в стране действуют индивидуальные предприниматели. Размер земельных угодий этих хозяйств субъектов. Крестьянские фермы всего в стране земли сельскохозяйственного назначения составляет 1,1 миллиона гектаров земли. Из них крестьянские фермерские хозяйства занимают более 1 миллиона гектаров земли, то есть более 91% земли имеют крестьянские фермерские хозяйства. Средний размер одного крестьянского фермерского хозяйства составляет по республике 3 гектаров. Кроме того, коллективно-крестьянские хозяйства действуют, их земельный участок составляет всего 6270 гектаров земли или 0,55%. Средний размер составляет 34,5 гектаров. Акционерные общества занимают 3500 гектаров земли, то есть 0,31% земли от всей площади земель сельскохозяйственного назначения. Средний размер составляет всего 45%. Кооперативы составляют более 25 тысяч гектаров земли, доля составляет всего 2,2%. Средний размер одного кооператива составляет 44 гектара земли. Государственные хозяйства занимают более 26 тысяч гектаров земли, то есть это 2,3%. Средний размер одного государственного хозяйства составляет всего 720 гектаров земли. Индивидуальные предприниматели занимают более 30 тысяч гектаров земли, это примерно 2,7% от всей земли сельскохозяйственного назначения. Средний размер одного индивидуального предпринимателя составляет всего 0,24 гектаров земли. В стране у нас производство более 360 миллионов сомов в национальной валюте, сельскохозяйственная продукция. Из них более 226 миллионов сомов производят крестьянские фермерские хозяйства. То есть доля в валовом производстве, доля крестьянских фермеров составляет 62%. Остальные, в этом слайде вы видите, вот здесь индивидуальные предприниматели. Индивидуальные предприниматели производят валовую продукцию в сумме 130 миллионов сомов, или доля составляет более 35%. Остальные, вот, например, от акционерного общества, они производят 654 миллиона сомов, доля составляет 0,18%. Кооперативы сельскохозяйственные производят 4 миллиарда 663 миллиона сомов, доля составляет 1,20. Смотрите, здесь самую большую долю дает крестьянские фермерские хозяйства и индивидуальные предприниматели. В сумме эти крестьянские фермерские хозяйства и индивидуальные предприниматели в сумме дают около 98% валовой продукции сельского хозяйства. Сельскохозяйственное производство, из них хозяйственные субъекты регулируются следующими нормативно-правовыми актами республики. Семейное фермерское хозяйство, как таково, как субъект сельского хозяйства, нормативным правовым актом у нас не регулируется, но косвенно регулируется следующими актами. Например, Конституция Кыргызской Республики, статья 17, здесь имеется норма о крестьянском фермерском хозяйстве. Гражданский кодекс Кыргызской Республики, там статья 82 статья, там специальные нормы есть, нормы о хозяйстве субъектов в крестьянском фермерском хозяйстве. Налоговый кодекс Кыргызской Республики тоже предусматривает нормы деятельности крестьянского фермерского хозяйства. У нас имеется специальный закон Кыргызской Республики о крестьянском фермерском хозяйстве. Вот этот закон был принят в 1999 году. Автором одних являюсь я. В прошлом году президентом нашей республики был принят указ о мерах по дальнейшему развитию агропромышленного комплекса Кыргызской Республики, где фермерству дается определенное значение, и в нашей республике начинается уделение внимания развитию семейного фермерского хозяйства. Знаете, у нас в стране семейное фермерство начинается, развитие семейного фермерского начинается с 91 года. Однако темп ее развития желать лучшего. У нас имеется множество проблем в развитии семейного фермерского хозяйства, такие как отсутствие правового статуса семейного фермерского хозяйства в национальном законодательстве, неблагоприятные социально-экономические условия села и недостаточное благосостояние семейных фермерских хозяйств. Недостаток средств производства и активов, слабый потенциал организации семейных фермерских хозяйств по представлению их интересов, знаний и услуг. Устаревшие технологии производства, отсутствие инноваций, трудности доступа к финансовым, кредитным средствам и рынкам сбыта, отсутствие учета данных по активам и производству семейных фермерских хозяйств. Кроме того, здесь некоторые ораторы, выступающие, сказали, имеются и другие проблемы, таких как отсутствие реестра. Действительно, у нас тоже отсутствует реестр семейных фермерских хозяйств. Позже я скажу об этом. Кроме того, действительно у нас в Кыргызстане в последнее время ощущается влияние изменения климата. У нас вот последние годы ощущаются изменения климата, сопровождающиеся маловодием, отсутствием влаги. Хотя у нас Кыргызстан, богато водным ресурсом, но однако у нас тоже имеются проблемы. Для решения этих проблем у нас принимаются определенные меры, принимаются определенные действия. Одним из них является национальный план действий по развитию семейных фермерских хозяйств. Вот этот национальный план действий по развитию семейных фермерских хозяйств был разработан в 2022 году и утвержден специальным приказом министерства. Сейчас министерство работает над исполнением этого приказа, и кое-какие результаты есть. Кроме того, проведена инвентаризация нормативных правовых актов и детальный анализ в сфере развития семейных фермерских хозяйств. Проведен 12 рабочих семинаров на межведомственном уровне с участием представителей семейных фермерских хозяйств по реализации национального плана действий, изучение проблем развития семейных фермерских хозяйств и решения их проблем, разработке, обсуждение проекта закона о внесении изменений в некоторые законодательные акты Кыргызской Республики. Здесь я показал, как реализуется национальный план действий по развитию семейных фермерских хозяйств. План действий по развитию, национальный план действий по развитию семейных фермерских хозяйств рассчитан на 5 лет, на среднесрочный период развития. Это с 23 года по 28 год. Здесь мы поставили всего 23 задач, 146 мер, ответственными государственными органами и органами местного самоуправления, объединение, общественное объединение, международные партнеры по развитию, всего 32. За этот период, с 2023 по 2025 год, исполнен, всего предусмотрено исполнять 56 мероприятий, из них исполнено 38 мероприятий, то есть 67, более 67% исполнено, остальные сейчас в настоящее время на стадии исполнения. Меры и действия плана на 25 на 28 год остались еще 90. До конца 28 года мы рассчитываем исполнить в полном объеме. Теперь у нас в республике какие меры предпринимаются для решения проблем? Первый. Был разработан проект закона о внесении изменений в Гражданский кодекс Кыргызской Республики, который предусматривает правовой статус семейно-фермерских хозяйств. Этот проект закона согласован со всеми министерствами, ведомствами, общественностью и внесен на рассмотрение Кабинета министров. Кабинет министров одобрил этот проект закона и направил на рассмотрение парламент Кыргызской Республики. Сейчас этот проект закона находится на рассмотрении парламента Кыргызской Республики. Кроме того, нами разработан проект закона о внесении изменений в налоговый кодекс Кыргызской Республики, где в статью 26 вносятся изменения по определению статуса семейных фермерских хозяйств и по оплате налоговых отчислений. Кроме того, если будут приняты эти законопроекты парламентом нашей республики, будет разработан подзаконные нормативные проекты Кабинета министров, одним из которых является проект постановления Кабинета министров о правовом положении и особенностях создания крестьянских и семейных фермерских хозяйств. Другим проектом постановления является проект постановления Кабинета министров о подтверждении дорожной карты развития семейного фермерства в Кыргызской Республике на среднесрочный период, то есть на 26-30 годы. Кроме того, будет разработан проект постановления Кабинета министров о подтверждении проекта развития субъектов семейного фермерства Там-Арка. Там-Арка – это национальный проект. Раньше этот проект назывался развитие семейных фермерских хозяйств. Сейчас мы его переквалифицируем в национальный уровень. Здесь задействовано множество государственных хозяйств, ведомств, органов местного самоуправления. Разработкой этих проектов постановлений Кабинета министров занимается в настоящее время Министерство сельского хозяйства совместно с другими государственными органами местного самоуправления. И в течение 2026 года эти нормативные правовые акты будут приняты Кабинетом министров Кыргызской Республики. Здесь показан статус семейных фермерств до этого и после принятия закона Кыргызской Республики о внесении изменений в Гражданский кодекс Кыргызской Республики. В настоящее время статус семейных фермерских хозяйств не определен. Статус. У нас имеется закон о крестьянском фермерском хозяйстве. Этот закон регулирует только деятельность крестьянского и фермерского хозяйства. Однако статус семейного фермерского хозяйства этим законом не регулирован. Поэтому учитывая данное положение, нами разработан проект закона о внесении изменений в закон в Гражданский кодекс Кыргызской Республики. Кроме того, в нашей республике действуют индивидуальные предприниматели. Индивидуальные предприниматели, они тоже это семейные фермерские хозяйства, которые занимаются выращиванием, то есть производством, сельскохозяйственного производства, который тоже не определен статус семейного фермерского хозяйства. Здесь семейные фермерские хозяйства, они зарегистрированы как индивидуальные предприниматели и проводят свою деятельность в качестве индивидуального предпринимателя. Кроме того, личные подсобные хозяйства граждан. В Кыргызстане точный учет не определен, но однако по нашим расчетам личные подсобные хозяйства граждан составляют более 860 тысяч единиц. Это те хозяйства, которые занимаются своим личным подсобным хозяйством. То есть они имеют свое подворье, земельный участок, и на этом земельном участке производят сельскохозяйственную продукцию. Однако нашим земельным законодательством и другими законодательствами их деятельность не регулирована. Поэтому мы разработали проект закона о внесении в Гражданский кодекс и Налоговый кодекс, и теперь хотим разработать другие нормативные акты Кабинета министров и будем регулировать деятельность семейных фермерских хозяйств, исходя из сложного обстоятельства. Уважаемые дамы и господа, исходя из вышеизложенного, я хотел бы сказать, что основными приоритетными направлениями в развитии семейных фермерских хозяйств я выделяю 3 основных приоритетных направления. Первое – это в среднесрочном периоде мы должны совершенствовать нормативную правовую базу по развитию семейных фермерских хозяйств. Это первое направление. Второе направление – оказать государственную поддержку семейным фермерским хозяйствам. В настоящее время семейным фермерским хозяйствам нашей республики уделяется, то есть государственная поддержка оказывается в малом количестве, вообще не уделяется внимания. Вот с прошлого года мы начали уже уделять внимание на развитие семейных фермерских хозяйств. В этом направлении мы хотим принять 3 больших программ по развитию семейных фермерских хозяйств, одним из которых является поддержка семеноводства и питомниководства. Другим направлением является поддержка племенного скотоводства, которые семейные фермерские хозяйства действительно занимаются этими направлениями. Третье приоритетное направление – это повышение знаний участников, то есть представителей семейных фермерских хозяйств. У нас в Кыргызстане семейные фермерские хозяйства, представители семейного фермерского хозяйства имеют малые знания, они даже не применяют новые технологии, внедрение новых технологий в производство. Вот поэтому Кабинетом министров нашей республики принимаются меры по поддержке семейных фермерских хозяйств именно в этой части, по повышению знаний. В этом направлении проводится определенная работа. Сейчас у нас почти ежедневно проводятся консультации, семинары, обучение, тренинги для развития, индивидуального развития представителей семейных фермерских хозяйств. Уважаемые участники нашего форума, я заканчиваю и благодарю за внимание.
Спасибо большое, господин Кадыкманов. Вы можете присесть. И также хотел поблагодарить за всю ту поддержку, которую вы делаете для семейного фермерства в Кыргызстане. Thank you for the presentation, and for those in the audience, I would like to mention that Kyrgyzstan is the only country in our region, in the Europe and Central Asia region, where they have adopted the National Action Plan for Family Farming. So a big applause for the country. Thank you. And for our next speaker, we will hear from the Latin America region. We will have Laureato Vizcay, who will be speaking about the Mercosur's experience on the co-creating different policies for family farming. And those from our region, Mercosur is a trade bloc uniting Argentina, Bolivia, Brazil, Paraguay, and Uruguay. So Laureato brings more than 15 years of experience in coordinating public policy spaces for family farming, and we're looking forward to hear about your experience. Thank you.
Thank you. Voy a hablar en español. Así que... Muchas gracias a la FAO, a toda la FAO, como dice Luis. Para nosotros es una cooperación técnica fundamental a lo largo de más de 20 años. Comenzaré antes de explicarle qué es la REAF Mercosur, esta reunión especializada, una reunión formal del Mercosur, como bien lo dijo Luis Bedusky, diciendo que indudablemente esta policrisis que los colegas de los paneles anteriores nos traen, policrisis social, económica, ambiental, que tenemos en la actualidad, demanda indudablemente innovar en temas también de institucionalidad y gobernanza global y gobernanza a nivel de nuestras subregiones. Esto pone en una situación, estresa una situación a nivel de qué organizaciones tenemos a nivel regional, subregional, para abordar esta policrisis y abordar las soluciones, la solucionática para nuestras sociedades con un aliado estratégico que es el sector de la agricultura familiar campesina indígena. Decir también que hace 20 años atrás, cuando creamos la reunión especializada, formal, fue a partir de una crisis. Esto es importante, las nuevas organizaciones, los nuevos diseños de nuestras sociedades surgen generalmente a lo largo de la historia después de crisis muy complejas, crisis alimentarias, crisis de precios, como decía recién, crisis de acceso a los alimentos principalmente. Las guerras son generalmente por alimentos y por recursos energéticos y por recursos en general. No fue así distinto lo que pasaba en el Mercosur a fines de los años 90, a fines de los años 2000, en el cual crisis agrícolas, precios que no les servían para generar vida a nuestras agriculturas familiares. Empezamos a pensar las organizaciones de agricultura familiar, ¿qué es la agricultura familiar? ¿Es un agronegocio pequeño? ¿Necesita políticas e instrumentos para pensarse como un pequeño agronegocio? ¿Es una unidad productiva que, si es más competitiva, puede ser bien vista en las cadenas de valor? Ese pequeño agronegocio con instrumentos tradicionales sectoriales de competitividad, uso del suelo, tecnología es suficiente? ¿O tenemos que pensar la agricultura familiar como una nueva organización social del trabajo, de la producción? ¿Es lo pequeño lo que la define o es su organización la que implica transformar los sistemas agroalimentarios? Ese debate está muy actual todavía y en esta policrisis demanda repensar nuestras estructuras de gobernanza, indudablemente. Que lo hablaba Guilherme, me lo trajo muy bien, ¿no? La necesidad de innovar. Y la colega que preguntó de los registros, y dejo esta última pregunta para avanzar en nuestra presentación. Los registros, ¿será que pueden traernos estas dimensiones nuevas? ¿Cuánto aporta la agricultura familiar a la captura de carbono, si están registrados? Tenemos posibilidad de tener evidencias sobre las contribuciones ya, no de unidad, pero territoriales al cambio climático. ¿Podemos repensar los instrumentos en función de eso? Bueno, creo que por ahí va nuestro gran debate de los próximos años en la REAF Mercosur, que tiene que ser eficiente, eficaz, porque los recursos son cada vez menores. ¿Bien? Bueno. Es una reunión formal del Mercosur. Esa es la gran conquista. Organizaciones de agricultura familiar campesina, no les fue regalado de presente un espacio de estas dimensiones. Hubo huelgas en Brasil, agrícolas, por temas de precio, de acceso a la tierra. Hubo paros en Argentina por reconocimiento de la necesidad de una agricultura familiar. Y hubo que discutir a nivel de los países y las cancillerías que la agricultura no era una sola, que la agricultura tenía distintos actores, entre ellos la agricultura familiar campesina indígena, diferente, necesaria, fundamental, pero no tenía un espacio en el bloque económico para decir no somos la agricultura precaria, no somos el último eslabón, somos parte del desarrollo económico y social y cultural de nuestros países. Se crea la reunión especializada. No fue de presente. Durante 20 años ininterrumpidos, esta reunión produce recomendaciones sobre políticas públicas para que los gobiernos del Mercosur, miembros plenos y asociados, implementen políticas públicas para el sector, diferenciadas. Lo decía Guilherme, al no ser un agronegocio pequeño, necesita políticas sociales. Políticas sociales que son palanca, combinadas con políticas de competitividad. Necesita políticas de vinculación diferenciada con el sector privado para acceder a tecnologías. Necesita créditos distintos. Todo eso permitió tener una reunión específica en el Mercosur para la agricultura familiar. No una reunión cerrada, una reunión que abre el diálogo al sector privado, que abre el diálogo a los ministerios tradicionales de agricultura y que le ofrece mejores diseños de política, consensuado con las organizaciones. Hay una experiencia nacional permanente con secciones nacionales. Los países se reúnen, el gobierno de Uruguay, que está aquí, el subsecretario, viceministro, es quien preside, Matías Carámbula, la sección nacional de su país. En Brasil, Paraguay, Argentina, lo mismo, Chile, Colombia, Bolivia, también. Es el subsecretario, la máxima autoridad política del país, quien convoca a su sección nacional, sus organizaciones, para un diálogo sobre la agenda nacional y la agenda subregional de la agricultura familiar. Esto es importante. Las organizaciones, es una innovación, son quienes también co-construyen la política pública. Esto permite más eficacia, más eficiencia en el diseño y luego en la implementación y luego en los presupuestos nacionales para la política pública. No es una reunión de demandas, no es una reunión donde cada organización lleva su demanda sectorial. para la leche, para la carne, para el pollo, para las producciones de soja, trigo, maíz. No, es una reunión para abordar la multidimensionalidad de la agricultura familiar a los problemas del hambre, la pobreza, generación de renta y permanencia en el campo de la juventud. ¿Cómo? En diálogo con el gobierno y con técnicos especializados, evidencia la academia, la universidad presentes. Es un foro nacional. A nivel subregional nos reunimos una vez por semestre en cada país presidencia pro tempore para discutir los desafíos regionales. Desafío regional de este semestre, aunque permanente, la COP30, las agendas climáticas, las 3 convenciones de Río de Janeiro, de biodiversidad, de certificación. Esta es la agenda subregional que hoy la agricultura familiar está discutiendo para poder juntos los países hacer incidencia en las agendas globales. Y la Alianza contra el Hambre y la Pobreza también. Es parte de esta agenda subregional de la REAF-Mercosur. A lo largo de los años, nos llevó mucho tiempo discutir los criterios de la agricultura familiar. Cómo un conjunto de países dice, reconozco tu agricultura familiar como legítima y tú reconoces la mía y nos reconocemos. Hoy el Mercosur tiene 290 millones de habitantes. Si sumamos a los países asociados, son 410 millones de habitantes. La agricultura familiar del Mercosur, de los 4 países miembros plenos, más Bolivia, supera los 6 millones de agricultores familiares. Es un bloque con muchas asimetrías, muchísimas. Es un bloque de tantas asimetrías que es el primer productor de carne vacuna a nivel global, de carne aviar a nivel global, de trigo y de soja a nivel global, y recién este año de nuevo Brasil sale del mapa del hambre. Es un país, es una subregión y países con innumerables asimetrías y contradicciones, siendo de las más ricas, como tenemos en la región amazónica, de las más ricas en extensiones de tierra y de las más asimétricas y desiguales en torno al acceso a los recursos para la agricultura familiar y también para las sociedades en general. A partir de eso, esta línea de tiempo fue haciendo incidencias en materia de política pública. Primero definimos quiénes eran los agricultores, le dimos espacio a las mujeres rurales como las grandes transformadoras del cuidado de la vida en el centro de los sistemas alimentarios y con políticas públicas acorde para las mujeres rurales. Trabajamos el acceso a mercados, trabajamos la extensión rural como elementos centrales para la transformación de los sistemas agroalimentarios. Hoy estamos en un debate muy importante sobre los sistemas de asistencia técnica y extensión rural y las tecnologías, sumado a los registros. Sabemos de la importancia de incluir las tecnologías para las nuevas generaciones y la demanda de los jóvenes, anticipando una charla que daré en la tarde, tiene que ver con el acceso a las tecnologías para poder ocuparse dentro de su producción familiar de áreas de gestión de conocimiento y de acceso a mercados que antes sus padres no se ocupaban y la unidad familiar no se ocupaba. Esto habla de una nueva generación de políticas en torno a incubadoras, en torno a aceleradoras de procesos de transformación con juventudes y uso de tecnologías. Esta es nuestra línea de tiempo hasta el 2024 con una recomendación de agroecología, transición agroecológica, que trabajamos una recomendación formal del Mercosur. Hay una publicación que realizamos recientemente, lo hicimos con FAO y con FIDA, un programa de intercambio. Vuelvo a destacar la importancia de la plataforma hoy mencionada, y es muy importante. Cuanto más aceleremos el intercambio y la cooperación técnica con gestión de conocimiento, más rápido será el proceso de transformación. Nuestros gobiernos necesitan acceso a políticas públicas que se han experimentado, probado, diseñado en otros contextos también. y el programa regional de agroecología que realizamos trae una recomendación que ya está dando resultados en Uruguay, está dando resultados en otros países, está validando iniciativas nacionales que se venían haciendo en torno a la transición en agroecología. Y lo hablamos con el subsecretario. No se trata solo de trabajar la transición agroecológica poniendo la carga en la agricultura familiar, sino también en aquellas explotaciones medianas de agricultores que siguen un sistema que hoy ya no les permite vivir, subsistir, y tienen que pasar a un nuevo sistema. Por eso lo pequeño no es tal vez lo tan transformador, sino la concepción de la organización del trabajo que tienen en esos territorios estas unidades familiares. También le damos oportunidad a los medianos productores ganaderos de Uruguay para que hagan transición agroecológica. No es una visión sesgada solamente a lo pequeño. Grandes temas que hemos trabajado, bueno, la identificación, creación de los registros. La colega preguntaba hoy, los registros son voluntarios. Luis le explicó muy bien, pero es voluntario si algo me da a cambio. Si no puedo acceder a algo, me hizo acordar mucho lo que preguntaba la colega. En Argentina, cuando largamos los registros, se implementan, nadie quería registrarse, porque había un sentir de la sociedad que si el Estado quiere saber quién eres, algo te va a cobrar, algún impuesto nuevo va a llegar. Y esto llevó de mucha educación, mucha comunicación y organizaciones haciendo entender de que el registro es voluntario, porque así voy a encontrar políticas para tierras, alguna amortización de intereses para crédito, voy a encontrar asistencia, otros instrumentos. Registros vacíos no sirven. Tiene que haber un estímulo en políticas para acceder. Bien, voy a ir a, esta es la REAF de Uruguay, me queda un minuto, gracias. El tema de las buenas prácticas. Indudablemente, no solo la plataforma, pero la REAF Mercosur ha reunido prácticas y experiencias en materia de cooperación sur-sur. Es una de las mandatos que el Mercosur le da a esta reunión. Ha sido el elemento central de canalizar nuevos diseños en política pública. Brasil, pasando su experiencia en temas de crédito a países del Mercosur. Brasil transfiriendo tecnologías en torno a programas de alimentación escolar y abastecimiento a toda la región. Uruguay pasando su experiencia en temas de pastizales y cómo ha trabajado el tema de semillas, protocolos de Nagoya y tantas otras, ¿no?, en investigación, ciencia y tecnología. Chile pasando su eficacia en el manejo y la entrega de recursos de SINDAP con control social. Y hay una oportunidad enorme en el intercambio y la plataforma que ofrece REAF Mercosur junto a la cooperación técnica, en este caso con FAO, para que podamos con otras subregiones contar cómo se organiza, se implementa y se monitorea el diálogo político sobre políticas públicas. Indudablemente, como desafíos, lo vamos a ver a lo largo de estos diálogos interregionales, el acceso a la tierra. Sin acceso a la tierra, sin posibilidad de pensar en el acceso a la tierra, en sus múltiples formatos, es imposible pensar la transformación de los sistemas agroalimentarios sostenibles. La agenda de adaptación, lo hablábamos hoy, indudablemente ya el dato ya es global. ¿Cuánto no accede de la agricultura familiar a las finanzas climáticas? Ya lo sabemos. Pero ¿qué hay que hacer para poder incidir y tener más acceso a esas finanzas climáticas? Y acá aparecen elementos que podemos contribuir. Los registros son uno de ellos. Bonos climáticos, acceso a sellos climáticos, trazabilidad, ver de qué manera la agricultura familiar puede contribuir a capturar capturar financiamiento para el sector, transparentando a la sociedad en qué contribuye la agricultura familiar. Bioeconomía, como nombró Luis Beduschi, economía circular, de qué manera visibilizamos, ¿no?, que la agricultura familiar cumple con las convenciones, pueda hacer un trabajo de transformación territorial y de cercanía. El tema territorial es fundamental en el proceso de transformación. Voy terminando. Conclusiones, ¿no? Conclusiones que tenemos dentro de la REAF. Indudablemente, invertir en la cooperación, invertir en la plataforma de intercambio, tiempo y recursos para los gobiernos es un tema central. Sistematizar las prácticas para dar escalabilidad es un tema central. Programas regionales de intercambio que fomenten el diálogo político y traigan políticas públicas es fundamental. Pero prioritario es que podamos, como decía el colega, tener marcos normativos. La acción parlamentaria es fundamental junto a los gobiernos y junto a las organizaciones. Son temas para nosotros relevantes. Estamos en una policrisis, la estamos transitando, hay que transformar e innovar políticas y algo que seguramente el subsecretario de Uruguay va a nombrar en estos días. Necesitamos un nuevo ecosistema de actores, multiactores, soportes para el desarrollo de la agricultura familiar campesina indígena. De las aguas, de las florestas, es importante pensar en ese ecosistema. También ayudar a que se desarrolle, incluir al sector privado, incluir a las universidades, incluir otros actores como los consumidores. No es solo la visión del instrumento y de la tecnología aplicada la que va a permitir transformar los sistemas y poner en el centro la agricultura familiar. Es pensar ese ecosistema. Y es con otros, legítimos otros, que dialoguen con la agricultura familiar sobre sus potencialidades, sobre las oportunidades que ofrece. Bueno, muchísimas gracias.
Muchas gracias. Indeed, it was very, like the last conclusions are very, very good, that indeed we need the cooperation of different actors, different sectors of economy to recognize the family farming and to work together for advancing family farming. So our next speaker comes from Croatia, and I would like to welcome to stage Ms. Marijana Petir, who is an independent member of the Croatian Parliament. She is also a chairwoman of the Agriculture Committee of the Parliament in her second term. She was, from 2014 to 19, she was also the member of the European Parliament, and she will be speaking about the experiences of how to balance the role of family farming in the food security and agriculture sustainability context. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Honorable organizers and participants, I cordially greet you all on behalf of the Agriculture Committee of the Croatian Parliament. Allow me at the onset to emphasize that Croatia supports the efforts of the FAO Regional Office for Europe and Central Asia in assisting countries through the regional priority program focused on empowering smallholders, family farms, and youth through inclusive rural transformation, digitalization, and innovation. For the successful development of this concept, it is essential to involve all participants in the food chain: farmers, the food industry, retailers, consumers, policymakers, and the scientific community, who will highlight the need to change the way we produce, use, and consume food. It is important to emphasize the necessity of finding a balance between the goals related to producing a sufficient quantity of food on the one hand, and activities aimed at mitigating and adapting to climate change, protecting the environment, and preserving biodiversity on the other. Family farms are essential for food production and the preservation of rural areas, thereby contributing to the strengthening of food security and constituting an important component of a country's national and defense security. That is why we must facilitate access to all resources necessary for food production for family farms, enabling them to be competitive and earn decent incomes while providing consumers with high quality and affordable food. Such a concept must be supported by an appropriate legislative framework. As agricultural land is a prerequisite for food production, the Agricultural Committee of the Croatian Parliament, with the aim of encouraging generational renewal and curbing the depopulation of rural areas, has introduced amendments to the Agricultural Land Act to ensure additional scoring for young farmers who run family farms, thereby making it easier for them to acquire agricultural land. In recognition of the multifunctional role of women in rural areas and to encourage their engagement in agriculture, we have secured additional points for women farmers. Through our amendments, we have also ensured priority in the lease of state-owned agricultural land for domestic and local residents, as well as for family farms located within the local government unit issuing the public tender. With the aim of strengthening short food supply chains, reducing imports, increasing the competitiveness of domestic producers, minimizing food waste, supporting the preservation of rural communities, and ensuring access to fresh and high-quality food for consumers, we are investing using EU funds in the construction of local distribution centers that are key links in the supply chain for fresh food and local products. These centers support family farms by collecting, storing, sorting, packaging, and distributing their products to retailers, the hospitality sector, and to other institutions. The committee has provided additional support through amendments to the decision on the implementation of green public procurement, which ensures greater representation of domestically and locally produced goods in green procurement processes. With this model, more agricultural and food products, while generating a minimal carbon footprint, will reach consumers quickly from farm to fork. This will secure a market for farmers and allow consumers to enjoy high-quality, local, and fresh food. The National CAP Strategic Plan aligns with the goals of the National Agriculture Strategy 2030, which aims to double the number of projects targeting small farms, double the average income of farmers, and reduce the poverty rate in rural areas by 25%. The strategic role of family farms in Croatian agriculture was formally recognized in 2018 with the adoption of the Family Farm Act. This legislation defines their operations and sets clear objectives, boosting competitiveness, streamlining administrative procedures, and fostering the development of rural areas. But none of the set goals will be achievable in rural areas without people to engage in agriculture and manage production resources. At my initiative, the state budget has allocated funds to support the purchase of homes for young families living in the countryside. This initiative involves the state co-financing housing programs with municipalities and towns with up to 6,000 residents, those most affected by the population. Through this measure, vacant houses in rural areas will be transformed into homes, giving young families a place to live, encouraging generational renewal, and securing the workforce needed for food production. An analysis conducted by the World Bank, which served as an input for the development of Croatia's agriculture strategy, confirmed that farms run by young farmers are more competitive and resilient compared to the average farm led by someone outside that age group. Through the National CAP Strategic Plan, we have secured a non-refundable Kickstart grant of 75,000 euros to help young farmers launch their agricultural business. Additionally, through investment support measures for agricultural production, we cover up to 80% of eligible costs for projects ranking from 15,000 to 2 million euros. A wide range of other measures and support are also in place to encourage generational renewal in Croatian agriculture and to strengthen small family farms. Science, technology, and innovation can play a vital role in promoting the sustainable use of agrotechnical protection in agriculture, halting the degradation of farmland, and improving product quality. These improvements will enhance market positioning, boost the competitiveness of producers, and enable the production of sufficient high-quality food at affordable prices with minimal resource use. That is why we plan to allocate 2.5% of GDP to innovation by 2030, alongside strengthening digital infrastructure, expanding digital public services and skills, and providing support for digital transition. These efforts are expected to help bridge the gap between rural and urban areas. There is a pressing need to address the shortage of skilled and formally trained professionals at both secondary and higher education levels, as well as the lack of interest in pursuing careers in agriculture, veterinary, science, forestry, and fisheries. I'm very proud to say that the Croatian government accepted proposal of my committee and established scholarships for students for agriculture, veterinary science, forestry, and fisheries, and they put this in a new program. So it started last year. This issue directly impacts the availability of qualified advisors and contributes to a broader shortage of labor. Agriculture is an honest and demanding profession. Without farmers, there is no food, and without food, life is not possible. That is why we have called on the Ministry of Agriculture to launch a national campaign highlighting the importance of agriculture with the goal of making it appealing and popular again. We need to make agriculture in. As examples of good practices implemented in the Republic of Croatia, I would highlight the basic income support for sustainability and the complementary redistributive income support for sustainability, which help stabilize farmers' incomes and ensure their basic livelihood, especially important in today's challenging climate and market conditions. In addition, by investing in rural business development, we are helping family farms modernize and become more competitive through improvements in infrastructure, equipment, and innovative solutions. By supporting investments in agricultural product processing, we are encouraging the creation of added value and generating new jobs. At the same time, promoting the use of renewable energy sources helps reduce costs and enhances the energy sustainability of family farms, contributing to environmental protection as well. I would also highlight payments for areas with natural constraints, which provide essential support to farms operating under special conditions, along with grants for primary production and innovation that drive modernization and boost agricultural competitiveness. Additionally, we are promoting income diversification through non-agricultural activities, encouraging farmers to develop alternative revenue streams while strengthening the long-term sustainability of rural communities. Croatia's Agriculture Strategy 2030 aims to diversify towards the production of higher value-added products and emphasize the importance of complementary activities in rural areas, particularly in the service sector, such as tourism and the bioeconomy, alongside stronger integration with the food sector. We believe it is essential to invest further in digital platforms, education, and rapid information exchange, which would enable faster and more effective supports for farmers. Digital tools should be made available at the local level to enhance knowledge and encourage the uptake of innovations. The need to simplify application and reporting procedures and to reduce bureaucratic barriers that hinder access to available support has also been recognized by the European Commission as a priority. It is important to ensure additional financial incentives for on-farm processing and storage, particularly for smaller family farms with investments up to 200,000 euros. This would stimulate local production and reduce dependence on external facilities. A structured program with targeted support for farm succession should be introduced, featuring multi-tiered incentives and higher grant threshold for young people under 40, regardless of their prior agricultural experience. The program should include education, mentorship, and benefits for those taking over family farms, as well as support for current farm holders who are passing on their holdings to the next generation. Clear criteria should be established to differentiate agricultural holdings by size and capacity, allowing for tailored support schemes and funding thresholds. Such measures would help safeguard the viability of investments made by small family farms and prevent disproportionate evaluations. The Agricultural Committee of the Croatian Parliament sees farmers as a part of the solution, not the problem. Hence, it is essential to promote farmer cooperation and strengthening their organizations to ensure their active involvement in policy making. Within the committee, we maintain ongoing dialogue with farmers and invite them to our meetings when making a decision on strategic issues, so their voices are heard. Alongside numerous associations and alliances, the interests of farmers in the Republic of Croatia are represented by the Croatian Chamber of Agriculture, which has over 75,000 members organized into 19 national sectoral committees and European bodies. The Chamber enables family farms to participate in shaping agricultural policy at both national and EU levels, provides education, runs media campaigns, and actively promotes the consumption of domestic products. Local action groups play a key role in supporting rural communities, contributing to improved living and working conditions across this area. Their operations are financed under the CAP strategic plan. Farmers simply do not have time to fill out surveys, a fact underscored by the fact that the Commission survey on the simplification of the CAP was completed by fewer than 27,000 farmers out of 9 million agricultural holdings across Europe, or just 0.3%. This makes it an unreliable basis for shaping the future of the common agricultural policy. If we genuinely want farmers to continue producing food for us, we must ask them what they need to do so. And if we want people to remain in rural areas, we must ask them what they require to keep safeguarding our countryside. It calls for on-the-ground consultation and active listening to their needs and concern. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mariana, for sharing all these interesting policy instruments and especially for highlighting the role of rural development and the involvement of young people into family farms and also in maintaining them in the rural areas. Unfortunately, we are running out of time and our interpreters would need to have a break. So we will have the Q&A session after the third session. So please note your questions and we will have, all together with the panelists of the third session, we'll do a big Q&A session. And now we are breaking for lunch. Please come back at 2:15. 2:15. And before we break, we go to have a group photo. For the lunch, the options you received in the information note, there are many, there is a catering in the 8th floor and other cafeterias around. So find whatever you like according to your taste. And where shall we have the photo?
Right there, outside.
Okay, outside.
So you will see a ladder, step ladder there. I will be standing on it and you'll be in front of me. It's right here.
I don't know. Elisa, can we leave valuables here or we... So please take all your belongings with you, the valuable ones.